Hello friends, and welcome to Gardening with Creekside. It is a foggy, misty Saturday morning here at the garden center, and you're going to come spend the day with us. We have got to post in the ground, my friends. That is correct. And so Jerry and Brittany are kind of wrapping up this last placement of trying to figure out where that post is going to go. So we're going to show you that. We're going to drill the holes, get the rest of the post in the ground. You're going to come with me. We're going to plant some camellias in the woodland garden. Chandler and Cece are in the signature garden doing some cleanup and tune up in that garden. So it is just a fun-filled morning here. We've got a fire going. If you can see it, it's somewhere over there in the gravel, because it is a damp, chilly day. So we're like, let's have a fire where we can all enjoy it. So we just put it on the gravel. So there you go. So you're going to come spend the morning / day with us, because as you know, anything can happen here at Creekside Nursery. But first, while they're working on getting the lines, let me show you how we determine where these posts are going to go. The other day, Jerry and Brittany got the 4 posts that you see in the ground, and then we have 2 more that they're going to put in today. Because remember, we are working on this project where we are expanding the back of the barn. We're going to keep the exact same shape and everything of the barn. We're just going to push it out to where Jerry and Brittany are. So what they're doing is they are running some string lines to get everything nice and square using those other posts. So we've got the string lines going on, and you want to get it because the post is going to go right there where that square is. So we're using the existing barn to get things kind of squared up, and then spacing them out. We said, what, 12.5 feet? Was that what it was?
Well, from one post to this post?
Yes.
And center is 11 feet 10 inches.
11 feet 10 inches. This was 12.6, I think, from outside to outside. Okay, so 11 feet 10 inches as far as going from the barn coming to me, and then like from Brittany to Jerry, that was the 12 foot 6 inches, and that was outside of post to outside of post. And so what he has done already, where he figured out where this one is going to go, you can see that he went ahead and spray painted it. And so we're going to take the string lines down and then get the auger on the bobcat, drill the holes, and then put those posts in the ground. So that is the plan for that. Of course, double checking everything. And we kind of joke that because Jerry and I built this barn in 2015, I want to say, something like that. And so we joke and say it is definitely a custom build, because no, it is not exactly perfect. It's custom, and so it has its own little quirks. So we just have to make sure that we can get it as best as we possibly can. So that's what's happening right here. Let me tell you about the camellias that we're going to go plant. So I've got Johnny that is backed up here, and so got my firewood in here, keeping it dry because the ground is wet. But I have got 3 camellias back here from Garden Treasures. Ordered these. They came, I think, the day before Thanksgiving. I have 3 or 4 more still at the house, but I wanted to put these 3, and we're going to put them in the woodland garden, in the back of the signature garden, kind of behind the pond. We are, of course, going to be developing this area, and I don't know exactly where they're going to go in that area, but they're going to go in there because, of course, we are in North Carolina, a Zone 8A, and we are in the South, and so I am leaning into camellias. It always happens that it's this time of year where I'm like trying to add as many camellias as I possibly can. Probably mainly is because this is when they are blooming. So I have 1 sasanqua that we're going to be adding, and then 2 japonicas. So if you're new to camellias or you're not familiar with camellias, there's 2 main different types of camellias that we plant in the South. The sasanquas, which bloom in the fall. So that could be anywhere from September through January, depends on the variety and the weather. And then you have the japonicas that bloom later. So anywhere from January to March into April. The sasanquas tend to be faster growers and overall at maturity tend to be smaller. Your japonicas tend to be a little bit slower grower, but ultimately get much larger. The easiest way to tell them apart is super simple. All you have to do is look at the leaves. So we have a sasanqua and we have a japonica. So this is Fall Festival. So I want you to look at the leaf. Look how small it is. I tell people it's about the size of your thumb. Also, it's really easy to tell right now because she's blooming. Y'all, look at this cutie patootie of a little bit of a bloom. Is that not the sweetest thing ever? So you've got Fall Festival. Now next door we have a japonica. Now yes, there is a color difference. This is a variegated camellia, but I want you to look at the size, don't focus on the color. Look how much larger this leaf is compared to Fall Festival. So this is Debutante Benton, and which is absolutely gorgeous, even just with its foliage, but it has a much larger leaf on it compared to this one. So just by looking at the plant, you can tell, and then we have Christmas Candy right here. And so Christmas Candy also has a nice big leaf. You can tell that these two are going to be your later bloomers, and then this is going to be your fall bloomers. So what I have is, of course, my Biotone starter fertilizer. We've got that in there. And then when you get from Garden Treasures, I don't remember the exact size on this. It's like maybe a 3-quart, 4-quart. It's a little bit smaller than a 1-gallon container, which is really great. But these are beautiful camellias. They package them fantastically well. They arrived, they hung out in my garage for a couple of days when it was like super cold, and then they've been outside. Have no worries about putting them out, but a really beautiful size, very healthy. So we're going to actually be using the Jenny's Edition, the 9-inch auger. I could easily use the 7-inch auger, but because we're going to be putting these in the woods, I want to make sure that I can get the soil nice and tilthy for them, and of course put that Biotone in there. So I think they're getting ready to drill some holes. So let's watch them drill the holes and put these posts in the ground, and then we'll go plant our camellias. All right, so they're putting the first post in. So they've got, obviously the hole has been dug. They put the string back up and then they work together to lift it up. This was what, a couple of feet shorter than the other ones. So not 4 feet shorter. So
Give us everything you got.
Brittany's such a trooper. We were telling her the other day, I was like, Brittany, you come to work and you never know what you're gonna do. You do a little bit of everything. So now what they're trying to do is, because the string lines are here, is to get the post, quote, perfectly right there. And then obviously Brittany's got the level too. So if you should be able to get it just kissing the corners of that corner and the string line, then we know that it will be level. But of course you always double check with an actual level, and then Jerry gets the fun task of picking it up and moving it. So that is a, what, a 12 by 6? 12 by 8?
6 by 6 by 12.
6 by 6 by 12. So when they were digging the holes, Brittany was like, look how different all of the soil is. And it is, it's crazy because each hole has basically a different color soil, and you can kind of see and look at it that you've got blonde sand, you've got rich brown reddish clay back there beyond the fire, and then here it's just like clods of just absolute clay in there. And so yeah, we have a little bit of everything here at Creekside, but you can see having that nice big hole using the bobcat, so that way you've got plenty of room to maneuver that post in there, and so you've got plenty of wiggle room, and it certainly makes the job a whole lot easier. And then this is just the tedious part of making sure that it is nice and level and centered and where it should go. So the idea, of course, is that let me step over the string lines here. Let me show you that the barn is going to be extended all the way back. But I don't think we are going to extend the wing that's to the far left. We're just going to be extending the main center and then this wing over here to the right. But we will keep the same pitch on the roof, the same everything. So what Jerry was talking about today is possibly, I think we'll be pushing it if we do that today, but after they get the post in the ground, it was talking about going up into the loft, and because this sliding door will be taken down, we're going to take it down and actually use it inside, kind of between the main area here and then where the soil is, so it'll go that way. But this whole wall right here has to come down. So all those boards have to come down so that we can then tie into the main beam that is up there. And we just had some customers who have been watching the progress and everything, and they were asking us what we had decided about the loft. So as of right now, we're thinking that this half, so this main beam, this beam that goes across, that is structural, so that has to stay there. And so we're thinking that the loft from the beam to me comes out, and this part will be vaulted, and then we leave the loft from the beam towards the front. So we'll have like a half loft, and then possibly what we could do is maybe put just a traditional staircase on this wall, so you could have a traditional staircase that goes up. I don't know, we haven't really fully talked about this. And then of course we would have railings and everything so that, you know, people wouldn't fall off. But the main thing too is this would not be necessarily open to customers. Like, this is not going to be like, we're not going to put things that are for sale up there. Maybe that would just be more for storage or for office space for the employees, that kind of thing. So by vaulting half of it and keeping half the walls, it's kind of the best of both worlds. So that's kind of what we're thinking right now. But like I was saying, with the sliding door that we have, it will go in this space right here. So it'll go right here. So that way where I'm standing in the barn can be completely closed in and protected. So that's kind of what we're thinking. So they've got it level and putting in some concrete in there to get everything nice and squared up. Of course, has the hose. So what we do is we don't mix it. We just put in the dry. You can see that Jerry has the shovel kind of working in some of the water into the mix, and then you just pour a bag. Our ground is so incredibly wet that we don't have to mix up concrete in the true traditional sense. We can just pour it in, add some water, give it a little zhuzh, and yeah, it works perfectly every single time. So that's a good thing. So you don't have to worry about actually mixing it. And so, yep, so what they're gonna do is they've got that one not breathing as they're pouring it in, and then they'll come in and put the other one. Like I said, we've got a nice little fire over here, and so I went, my parents have quite a lovely collection of firewood, and so I texted Mimi this morning and I asked her, and I said, Mama, I said, can I come get some firewood? We want to do a fire at the nursery today. And she was like, absolutely. So if you're familiar with us, we know that you know that we have a fire pit in the pines, the shaded area, but that's on the other side of the nursery. And since we're going to be working right here, I was like, let's just put a fire just right here on the gravel, because of course this area will still have to be graded some. So it doesn't matter that we have some ash right here. So everybody, they work for a little bit and then they come over here and stand by the fire. It may be little, but it is quite warm and toasty. All right. So I'm gonna step away from the fire. We're gonna go figure out where these 3 camellias are gonna go. And then, yeah, so I'm gonna go dig in, let's go dig. All right, my friends, so Jerry and Brittany are wrapping up that second post. I came over here to the woodland hill. Of course, we are just on the other side of the pond, the back end of the signature garden. So we're gonna put these 3 camellias in the ground. All 3 of these camellias are hardy in zones 7 to 9, and they do well with morning sun, afternoon shade, or filtered sun. Hence, why we're going to be putting them underneath these lovely hardwood trees. As you can tell from the number of leaves, we have a really healthy forest here at Creekside and just generally in this area. So they are going to get great sun because the sun comes up in the morning. East is over my right shoulder, so they're going to get some good morning sun, but then they will definitely get a break in the afternoon because of these tree canopies. And the sun will actually set behind this hill in the summertime, so they will definitely get shade. This is not on irrigation, but because it is a hill, every time that it rains or we get moisture, of course the water is going to flow down the hill because of gravity, and they do they're going to get a good amount of water. And the main time that I have to be concerned about that, of course, is in the summertime, July, August, September, and even into October. That's why we're going to be planting them now, so that their roots will have plenty of time to get established before the heat of the summer hits. So let me show you where I placed all 3 of them and give you a little bit of information about each one. If you remember this, summer, early spring, whenever it was, Jerry and Jackson and I came through here and we planted, we've got Japanese maples in here, we've got Kusa dogwoods, and so they are placed in here. And then a couple of weeks ago, month or so ago, I came in and planted some of the fairy trail brides. They are back over there kind of between those Kusa dogwoods. So the idea that I have, the design for this garden is definitely a very, quote, natural looking garden. I do not want to have things too symmetrical, too matchy. So I have spread out these camellias. Let's just start here because this is the one that's closest to me. This is my only Sasanqua. This is that fall festival that is going to be basically roughly in that 4 to 5 tall and wide and has more of a mounding habit. Because I do have a Crimson Queen Japanese maple here and then one of those Kusa dogwoods right there. So I kind of sandwiched it in the middle of those 2 trees, but pulled it forward. But again, just absolutely falling in love with these blooms. I mean, they are so stinking cute. Again, all of these camellias came from Garden Treasures. That is a great online nursery that could be a resource for you. They are in North Carolina, and so all of those came from that nursery, so you can check them out. So we've got Fall Festival there, and then up here kind of behind the table, that is going to be the Debutante Benton. And the reason that I put the Debutante Benton up here is because it has that variegated foliage, and it is, right now she looks a little lonely. Roughly they say it's probably gonna be that 6 to 8 tall and wide. So again, kind of sandwiched it, and I have a nice opening here with the trees. So I wanted to put it kind of dead center. And so because I chose to put this one here with that bright chartreuse foliage, because I think it will stand out more. And I mean, it is just a lovely color, and y'all, the flower on this camellia is absolutely stunning. That really soft pink, I just cannot wait. It does have a bud on it, so hopefully we will get a bloom this year. But you got to be patient with camellias. When you plant camellias, it is a lesson in patience for sure. But I really think with that nice pop of chartreuse color, it is really going to stand out even in the summertime when we have a lot of green around it. So imagine 6 to 8 feet tall and wide right there. Oh, lovely. And then the last one we have is Christmas Candy. And Christmas Candy definitely lives up to its name. It looks to me like a peppermint candy, like a, you know, it has those red and that white in it. Oh, lovely. So again, kind of sticking it so it is right here, sticking it towards the back behind the Coosa dogwoods, but yet you can see it because there is also a road that goes up here, so you'll be able to see it from the back side of the road coming down as well. So here we have Christmas Candy right there. She has got a couple of buds on her as well, again in that 6 to 8 tall and wide range. So there you go. It's gonna be really simple, y'all. I'm just gonna go grab my 9-inch auger. I'm going to drill a hole. I am going to throw some biotone in that hole. I'm going to put the camellias in. I'm going to put the native soil back, and there you go. We got tons of leaves to use as some mulch right now. And given the weather, it is cool, cloudy, and damp. So they will adjust just fine. So let's get these 3 in the ground. All right, my friends, so I got all 3 of the camellias planted. Easy peasy, in the ground they went. So interesting because for all 3 holes, they all had completely different soil. You know, that is the thing about life at Creekside. You never know what you're gonna run into, and we have all different types of soil. The soil up here with the debutante, what was it, Benton? There we go. Was just classic, what you would think, right? Nice, kind of a rich, had a lot of organic matter from all of the leaves that have come down. Then you come over to Fall Festival, and it was gray clay, like mucky, thick gray clay. And then the last one, Christmas Candy, was still nice and rocky and a little bit more sandy, a little bit more red. So there you go. Everybody got some good biotone. And Jackson had mulched this entire woodland hill last summer before the signature experience, because when he had cleared it out, of course, it was exposed red, you know, native soil. So before the signature experience, he came through and did some shredded, it's like a shredded hardwood mulch. Y'all, it has started to decompose, and it is lovely. Like, it is this glorious, rich compost. So what I did is I went around, because there's some humps that were not evenly spread. So I kind of got those clumps and then spread it around the base of the camellias. Chef's kiss. They're going to love it. Let me show you. So you can see where I was digging, right? So you can see, I don't know if it like it'll show, but these are clumps. These are like big old raised humps right here. But look how beautiful that is. All of that is starting to decompose and just turn into compost. This is why we love a good mulch, because over time, it amends your soil, amend. That is what we're talking about. So with the debutante Benton, got it in and then went ahead and put the leaves back around it, so it looks like it's been there forever. And of course, the leaves will help retain that moisture in there. So I am loving that camellia. It is absolutely stunning. And then Fall Festival is going to be such a cutie patootie right here in the front. That nice mounded habit to it, but you can see here, like, look at that gray clay. Can you see that? See how yucky that is? Ugh. But put that nice mulch around it that's turning into compost. So there you go for Fall Festival. And yes, right now I have the tags on. I didn't grab the my little copper name tags, but I will get those and label everybody so that we know what they are, because I will not remember, I can guarantee you. And then here we have the Christmas candy. I kind of left it open so you can see all of that nice mulch right there. So then we're just going to take the leaves, just kind of toss them back on there like such. But look at that big old fat, beautiful, there's one that was hiding under there. Look at those buds, lovely. Yep. Alrighty, my toboggan keeps going down over my head. Question, what do you call this thing, this hat? What kind of hat is this? I think in the South, I think some people, well, you put it in the comments. I grew up calling it a toboggan, right? But then there's this whole debate, evidently other parts of the country that actually have a real winter and snow, you call a toboggan for you is like a sled. Here in the South, we just call it a sled. This is called a toboggan. I think there's a big debate. I could be wrong, but from my understanding. So anyway, my toboggan keeps going down over my face, but it's nice and warm and cozy. We are hauling our equipment here, and I'm going to show you what Cece and Chandler are doing in the signature garden. We have a couple thousand tulips arriving that we're going to be planting here in the coming days. So what I think they've been doing is redefining the edges. So the tulips, I don't remember which blend, I'll put it up on the screen for you, which tulips are going in here, but they will go into the 4 annual beds. Let me show them to you. So the tulips will go into the 4 interior beds, and you can see how lovely an edge they have made this. So nice hard edge they've put on this. So there's the 4 beds, and then they will also go around the fountain. And I think we're going to put it also around at the base of the little lime punches up there. So we'll just kind of see how many we have, and then we could easily put them here on the back bed too. Maybe at least one good clump between the glitters and glows viburnums. So the glitters and glows, they are growing. They are fantastic. Look at those beautiful blue berries that they have. The birds are loving them. These will get to be 4 to 5 feet tall and wide. So we planted them so that they will at maturity touch each other. And so as they're growing, we're losing space for the annuals, which is perfectly fine. But I could see doing a nice little selection of tulips between each of the glitters and glows as well, just to tie in that whole bed. But I do know that we have, it is a blend of tulips. Oh, it's the Much Niceness. Yes, it's Much Niceness, that's what it is, because we did Much Niceness last year in front of the pergola, and it was gorgeous. It was stunning. So that's what it is. We have 2,200 bulbs coming in here for the signature garden. And then because I was late ordering my bulbs, totally my fault, Color Blends didn't have enough to also, I was going to do the Much Niceness here and in front of the pergola, and they didn't have enough. So we had to do another blend in front of the pergola. That's the one I don't remember. But the Much Niceness is going here, and it is a gorgeous, beautiful blend. Love this one so much. All right, my friends, so it is has been a very productive morning. It is now lunchtime, and my tummy is telling me that it is time to go eat some lunch. So we're going to hop off here, but it has been such a very, very productive day. Got the camellias planted. They're still working, and then Brittany and Jerry got the 2 posts in the ground back there. So basically what we'll do now is, of course, let that concrete set, get it nice and firm, and then we'll see how much further they take it. But I seriously doubt we'll do any more today, because kind of once it hits lunchtime on a day like today, it's like, why push yourself? We take things slow here in the wintertime at Creekside. So anyway, I digress. So if you have found this fun, informative, inspirational, we would love it if you would like and subscribe to Garden Creekside. That way you don't miss those 5 videos that we do each and every week. we will be planting tulips with you in the next coming days. So come back and have some fun with us, especially those folks that are in the cold, frozen tundra. You can come live vicariously through us. Hopefully it'll be a sunny day when we plant tulips, because this is kind of depressing with all the gray, but it's all right. We still have beautiful green grass. We appreciate you. Y'all have a great day. We'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.